In 1817, a Tennessee family tried everything to silence the voice that lived in their walls. No lock, no priest, no doctor could stop it. It killed the father and left on its own. In 1892, a town in Rhode Island opened a grave, burned the heart inside, and reburied the girl. The sightings continued. In 1970, the church in London welded the crypts shut. The hunts continued. In New Orleans, the Catholic Church sealed an attic in 1728. 3 centuries later, no one has opened it. And in Connecticut, a priest still blesses a locked glass case twice a year. The case has not been opened since 2019. 5 things humans tried to silence, bury, weld shut, or pray over. 5 things that wouldn't stay closed. (1817) Adams, Tennessee. Deep in the woods along the Red River, the Bell family farm should have been a place of peace. But something ancient and hateful stirred in the shadows. John Bell, his wife Lucy, and their 9 children lived there. Among them was young Betsy, sweet, innocent, and soon to become the favorite target of pure evil. It started small, whispers in the walls at night, scratching like nails on wood. Then, footsteps, heavy, dragging, pacing the floorboards while the family lay frozen in their beds. One night, the voice finally spoke from the darkness. A woman's voice, cold, mocking, and impossibly clear. It called itself Hester, and it came for Betsy first. Betsy would wake screaming in the dark. The marks were always real. The entity quoted Bible verses perfectly, then twisted them into curses. It moved furniture across rooms. It revealed family secrets no one had ever spoken aloud. It knew things it could not possibly know. And it hated John Bell most of all. It called him Old Jack, with venom in every syllable. It swore it would torment him until his last breath, and it named the exact day he would die. December 20th, 1820. That morning, John Bell was found lifeless in his bed. A strange vial sat on the bedside table, dark, smoky liquid no one in the house had ever seen. His eldest son tested it on the family cat. 2 drops, and the animal convulsed violently, then dropped dead on the spot. Hester laughed from the empty air. "I gave old Jack a big dose of that last night while he slept. Fixed him good." To this day, over 200 years later, the Bell descendants in Adams still refuse to speak her name. Some say if you whisper it near the old cave on their land, she'll answer. One of the most famous details in the Bell Witch legend claims that Andrew Jackson visited the farm in 1819. According to later retellings, he left shaken, allegedly saying he would rather fight the British Army again than spend another night there. Whether Jackson truly said it or not, the story did something important. It made the haunting bigger than one family. The Bell family did not stop the haunting. The haunting stopped on its own. 80 years later, in a small town in Rhode Island, another family would refuse to wait that long. Rhode Island, 1892. Exeter, a remote farming village where the dead refused to stay buried. 19-year-old Mercy Brown was laid to rest in frozen ground in January. She was the 3rd in the Brown family to die of consumption. First her mother, then her older sister. Now her brother Edwin was coughing up blood, wasting away before their eyes. The villagers knew what this meant. In 1890s New England, they still believed in vampires. Restless corpses that rose from family graveyards to drain the life from their own relatives, one by one. On March 17th, the Browns exhumed their dead. The mother and sister had been buried for years. They were only bones. But Mercy, buried just 2 months earlier, looked almost alive. Her body was undisturbed, her hair and nails had grown, and when they opened her chest, fresh blood was still in her heart. The town doctor tried to explain it was the cold ground preserving her. The family didn't listen. They removed Mercy's heart and liver, burned them on a flat stone in the cemetery, and mixed the ashes into water. Edwin drank the mixture, hoping it would save him. He died 2 months later. Mercy Brown lies in Chestnut Hill Cemetery today. Her grave is still visited, flowers appear regularly, and locals say that on quiet nights, you can still see a pale figure in a white dress standing near the old burning stone, watching the living with hollow, hungry eyes. The folk cure was honest in its way. People were terrified, and they did what their grandparents had done before them. By the next century, the same fear had moved across an ocean. The methods had not gotten any more rational. London, 1969. Highgate Cemetery. 30 acres of crumbling Victorian crypts and overgrown tombs, long abandoned to decay. Something ancient and evil had begun to stir. A young woman walking the paths one evening suddenly froze. Among the leaning headstones stood a tall, dark figure, motionless, watching her with eyes that burned red. It never moved, but she felt it follow her all the way home. She wasn't alone. The year before, a bus conductor saw the same cloaked silhouette near the gates. A couple on Swains Lane described a hypnotic stare that pinned them in place and drained the warmth from their blood. Whispers spread of dead animals found drained white near the walls and cold hands brushing skin in the night. In 1970, Sean Manchester, leader of the British Occult Society, stepped forward. He declared the figure was a king vampire, a 15th century Romanian nobleman and black magician awakened by Satanists. He set the date for the hunt, Friday, March 13th. ITV News covered it live. That evening, hundreds of Londoners swarmed the cemetery. They climbed the iron walls carrying crucifixes, garlic, and homemade wooden stakes. Police couldn't hold them back. The mob smashed open tombs, dragged out mummified bodies, and stakes were driven into the dead. Screams and splintering wood echoed through the graves. 3 years later, Manchester claimed he had tracked the vampire to a house in Hampstead and staked it through the heart. He said he photographed the body. He hadn't. To this day, Highgate management has never spoken about that night. Certain crypts on the west side remain welded shut with no explanation. Sightings continue. Visitors still report a tall, cloaked figure gliding near the sealed tombs, watching, with eyes that burn red. Some say the king vampire was never truly destroyed. Later accounts claimed a young woman was found in Highgate Cemetery at night in a trance-like state, with marks on her neck. But like so much of Highgate, the story sits in the fog between police rumor, tabloid panic, and occult folklore. A modern city, a mass panic, and a cemetery still under repair from the 1970s. But the oldest of these stories does not start with a hunt. It starts with a ship. New Orleans, 1728. According to the legend, young women arrived from France to marry settlers in the struggling colony. They carried small wooden trunks, cassette boxes, and over time the city gave them a darker name, the Casket Girls. The historical record says they were real women. The horror story begins with what people claimed they brought with them. Some versions say the trunks were strangely heavy. Others say they were almost empty. The darkest versions claim the contents were never properly explained at all. The girls were taken in by the Ursuline nuns on Charter Street, and somewhere in the telling, the attic above the convent became the center of the story. The shutters on the upper floor were said to be sealed, not just closed, sealed from the outside. The explanation was never enough for the people who wanted to believe something had been locked away. No official record proves vampires entered New Orleans in those trunks. But legends do not survive for 300 years because they are easy to kill. They survive because something about them still feels unfinished. A sealed attic in New Orleans is still a sealed attic. The Warrens chose a different kind of containment for what they thought they were dealing with. Connecticut, 1970. A small Raggedy Ann doll arrived at a nursing student's apartment as a birthday gift. Donna placed it on her bed and thought nothing more of it. Days later, the doll began to move. She found it sitting upright in a chair across the room. Doors she had locked were standing wide open. Then came the notes, childlike handwriting on parchment paper left on the floor. "Help us. Help Lou." Her roommate's boyfriend, Lou, stayed over one night. He woke to searing pain. 3 deep, parallel claw marks torn across his chest, bleeding through his shirt. They called a medium. She claimed the doll was possessed by the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins, who had died on the property years earlier. But when Ed and Lorraine Warren, the famous Catholic demonologists, examined it, they delivered a far darker warning. This was no child's ghost. It was a demonic entity pretending to be innocent, slowly earning their trust so it could destroy them. The Warrens sealed the doll inside a locked glass case at their occult museum in Monroe, Connecticut. A bold sign hung above it. "Warning, positively do not open." A priest blessed the case twice a year. In 2019, a visitor mocked the doll through the glass on his way out. He died in a motorcycle crash before he reached home. The museum closed to the public that same year. The case has never been opened since. Annabelle still sits behind the glass, motionless, waiting. The blessings continue, the locks remain. But some nights, visitors who walk past the museum swear they see the doll's head slowly turn, following them with dead button eyes. 5 cases, 5 attempts to silence, bury, seal, weld, or bless what people were afraid to face. In Tennessee, the voice left only when it chose to. In Rhode Island, they burned a heart and still lost the boy they were trying to save. In London, the vampire panic outlived the hunt. In New Orleans, the sealed attic became more frightening than anything anyone could prove was inside. And in Connecticut, the warning is still written on the glass. Maybe that is what containment really means. Not that the danger is gone, just that someone decided where the fear was allowed to live. Shadow Files Vault. Subscribe if you're not afraid to listen.